Toma's breath came fast and shallow. The cold air bit at his skin through the torn fabric of his suit above him. The sky was filled with strange colors, green and purple clouds swirling like smoke. He blinked, trying to clear the pain in his head. The last thing he remembered was the sharp shake of the ship, alarms ringing, and the warning light flashing red. Then, darkness. Now, he lay on the soft ground of a strange jungle. Giant trees rose around him, their leaves glowing faintly. In the dim light, strange sounds echoed in the distance, creatures he had never heard before. Toma tried to move, but pain shot through his leg. He groaned softly, unable to get up. His ship had crashed somewhere on this remote moon called Ilyar. The place was known for its dangers, but Toma was the only survivor. He was a scout, sent ahead to check if the planet was safe for human colonies. But now, he was alone. He forced himself to sit up, breathing in the cool air. The sky slowly shifted colors as the moons rose. The jungle was quiet, but something deep inside told him he was not safe yet. His comm device was smashed in the crash. No way to call for help. Toma looked around. The jungle seemed endless. But he saw something far away. There was a faint light. It looked like a small building or shelter. He knew he had no choice. If he stayed here, he would die. Toma struggled to his feet. Using a fallen branch as a cane, every step was painful. But he kept moving toward the light. The path was thick with plants that brushed against his arms and face. Strange insects buzzed around, some glowing softly. His heart pounded, but he kept walking, hoping the light would bring safety. After what felt like hours, Toma reached a clearing. In the center stood an old stone building. It looked like a small temple, covered in vines and moss. The stone was smooth but worn, with strange carvings he did not understand. The door was open. Light shone softly from inside. He stepped in carefully. The room was quiet and cool. A small fire burned in a pit, casting flickering shadows on the walls. The carvings were clearer here, images of tall beings with silver skin and large eyes. Some showed battles, others showed peaceful scenes. Toma's leg ached badly, so he sat down by the fire. Suddenly, a soft voice spoke from the shadows. "You should not be here." Toma looked up quickly. A figure stepped into the light. She was tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like moonlight and eyes that glowed softly silver. Her hair was long and pale, falling like a waterfall down her back. "I'm Valara," she said calmly. "You are hurt. Come, rest." Toma was surprised. He wanted to be cautious, but his body was weak. He nodded slowly. Valara moved with grace as she approached him. She took a small pouch from a shelf and offered him water. Then, she gently helped him lie down on a soft mat. "Who are you?" Toma asked, his voice hoarse. "I am the last of my people," Valara said quietly. "This place is my home. You are the first human I have seen in many years." Toma frowned. "I did not come here to fight. My ship crashed. I need help." Valara nodded slowly. "Then you will have it. But know this, Ilyar is not a place for the weak." Toma looked around the room. "Why do you live here alone?" Valara's eyes grew distant. "I lost my family in the war. The humans destroyed much of my world. I am what remains." Toma felt a sudden wave of guilt. "I'm sorry. I had no idea." Valara looked at him but said nothing. Instead, she stood and moved to a small table. She pulled out a thin metal band and placed it on Toma's leg. "This will help your wound heal," she explained. Toma felt a cool, gentle pulse from the band. Slowly, the pain lessened. "Thank you," he said, surprised. Valara nodded once. "Eat something. You need strength." She gave him a small bowl filled with soft, green fruit. It tasted strange but sweet and refreshing. Toma ate slowly, watching her carefully. For the first time since the crash, he felt hope. As night fell, Valara lit more lamps. The walls of the temple glowed with soft light, making the strange carvings shine. Outside, the jungle was alive with sounds, distant roars, insects calling, and the wind moving through the leaves. Toma lay back on the mat. "Why did you help me?" he asked quietly. Valara's eyes met his. "Because even in war, there must be kindness." Toma smiled weakly, feeling a deep tiredness pull at him, before sleep took him. He looked once more at Velara's face. There was sadness there, but also strength. He knew this night was only the beginning. The next morning, Toma woke to soft light filtering through the small windows of the stone temple. The pain in his leg had lessened, and the strange metal band Velara had placed on him still pulsed gently with warmth. His body felt stronger, but his mind was full of questions. He sat up carefully and looked around. Velara was already awake, sitting by the fire, her silver eyes fixed on the dancing flames. She did not look at him, but he felt her attention. "Good morning," Toma said, trying to keep his voice steady. Velara finally looked up. "You slept well," she said softly. Toma nodded. "Thanks to you," she gave a small smile, but it did not reach her eyes. "You are safe here. For now." Toma looked around the room again, noticing the strange objects and carvings more closely. "What is this place?" he asked. "This was once a temple to my people," Velara replied. "Long ago, before the war took everything." Toma touched one of the carved walls. The images told stories of beings with tall, slender bodies and shining skin, standing among stars and great ships, battles, celebrations, farewells. It felt like history written in stone. "Your people, they fought humans?" Toma asked carefully. Velara's face darkened. "Yes, we fought to protect our home, as you would." Toma swallowed hard. "I did not know. I thought the war was over." "So did I," Velara said quietly. "But the scars remain." She stood and moved to a small shelf filled with more objects, small tools, shining stones, and what looked like ancient weapons. Toma's eyes were drawn to a curved dagger with a handle shaped like a star. "This weapon was my mate's," Velara said, her voice soft but firm. "He was a leader, a warrior. We lost him to the war." Toma felt a chill. "I'm sorry." Velara looked at him, studying his face. "You are not your people's sins, Toma." The name surprised him. "How do you know my name?" Velara's eyes glowed a little brighter. "I saw your ship fall. I found you near death. I know much more than you think." Toma's heart beat faster. "Why did you help me? Why not leave me to die?" Velara looked away, her voice almost a whisper. "Because even in darkness, some light remains, and because I need you." Toma frowned. "Need me? For what? Before?" Velara could answer. A sudden noise came from outside, a low growl, followed by rustling leaves. Toma's body tensed. Velara moved quickly, her eyes sharp and alert. "Stay here," she commanded. Toma watched as she stepped outside, standing tall and calm in the bright morning light. From the jungle, a large creature emerged. It had 4 legs, covered in dark scales, and glowing eyes. It snarled, baring sharp teeth. Toma wanted to run, but Velara raised a hand. The creature stopped, growling low. Then, with a soft word in her strange language, Velara's silver eyes glowed, and the creature lowered its head. It turned and disappeared into the jungle. Velara returned inside. "They respect me," she said simply, "but they are not the only dangers here." Toma nodded, understanding that this world was wild and dangerous. Over the next few days, Velara cared for Toma. She taught him which plants were safe to eat and showed him how to move quietly through the jungle. Toma was amazed at her knowledge and strength. She seemed part of the world itself. Despite the growing bond, Toma felt a distance between them, like a wall he could not cross. Velara rarely spoke of herself or her past. One evening, as the two sat by the fire, Toma decided to ask again. "Velara, what happened to your people? Why did the war start?" Velara looked into the flames, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "Long ago, humans and my people lived apart, but our worlds touched in trade and stories. Then fear grew. Some wanted power. The war began when my mate's people tried to protect our home from your fleet." Toma's hands clenched. "I'm sorry. I wish I could change what happened." Velara's face softened. "The past is like the stars far away, but still shining. We cannot change it, only learn from it." Toma looked at her carefully. "Do you want to be alone forever?" Velara smiled sadly. I thought I did, but you have shown me otherwise. Suddenly, a sharp sound broke the calm. From outside came a distant explosion. The ground trembled. Slightly, Velara stood quickly. That was a ship, she said, voice tense. Your people are nearby. Thomas' heart raced. They're looking for me. Velara's eyes met his. Then we have little time. She moved to a hidden panel in the wall and pressed a symbol. A section of the floor slid open, revealing a staircase leading down. This is where I keep what remains of my people's knowledge and weapons, Velara said. If your people find you here, they may find this place too. Toma followed her down into the darkness. The air grew cooler. The walls glowed faintly with lines of light, running through strange crystals. The chamber below was filled with shelves, holding ancient devices, metal boxes, glowing orbs, and weapons unlike anything Toma had seen. Velara touched a large tablet. It lit up, showing images and symbols. These are the memories of my people. Toma reached out to touch one of the devices. Suddenly, it hummed and flickered. A holographic image appeared, a woman who looked like Velara, standing beside a tall figure wearing armor. The woman spoke in a language Toma could not understand, but the image showed battles, ships falling from the sky, and cities burning. Toma stepped back, heart pounding. Who is that? Velara's eyes darkened. That was me. Before the war. Before I became a widow. Toma looked at her in shock. You were a leader. Velara nodded. Yes, and that is why you are here. Toma's mind raced. What do you mean? Velara's voice was steady but serious. The past is not just history. It lives in this place. And you are part of what comes next. Toma felt a cold fear settle in his chest. He looked into Velara's eyes and saw a secret waiting to be told. The jungle outside whispered, and the fire above flickered. Toma knew his time on Aliar was only beginning. The holographic image shimmered before Toma's eyes, faint blue light filling the shadowy chamber. Beneath the temple, the woman in the image looked exactly like Velara, but her posture was strong. Her silver eyes sharp with purpose. Beside her stood a tall figure wearing dark armor, a commander of war. Toma's heart pounded as he stared. The battles playing out in the hologram were fierce, ships clashing in the skies, explosions shaking alien cities, warriors charging into flames. The images were full of destruction, but also of strategy and sacrifice. Who was that man? Toma asked, his voice barely a whisper. Velara stepped closer, her eyes fixed on the light. He was my mate, Kalen, a leader of my people and a warrior of great skill. Toma swallowed hard. You fought against humans. Velara's voice was steady but heavy. Yes, we tried to protect our home. But the war destroyed everything. My people, many are gone. Toma looked down, feeling the weight of the past in the cool air around them. And what about you? Velara's silver eyes met his. I survived, but I am not the same. Suddenly, the hologram changed. A new scene played out. The same woman and man arguing with fierce faces. Orders shouted. Then chaos. It was not just war. It was betrayal. The woman's face twisted with pain as the man raised his hand to strike. Toma gasped. What happened between you two? Velara's jaw tightened. It was a time of great confusion. Not all of my people agree with Kalen's way. I tried to stop the fighting, but I failed. Toma looked at her carefully. You said you were the last of your kind. Why? Velara hesitated, then nodded toward a corner of the chamber. There's more. She pressed a small button on the wall. A hidden panel slid open, revealing a narrow passageway leading deeper. Underground. We must go, Velara said quietly. Toma nodded and followed her down the stairs. The air grew cooler and more still. The walls here were carved with more ancient symbols, stories of war and peace, hope and loss. At the end of the passage, they entered a large room filled with strange machines. Some were broken. Others hummed softly with energy. In the center stood a tall glass container, cracked but still glowing faintly. Velara approached it carefully. Inside the container lay a small device shaped like a star, pulsing with light. This is the heart of our power, she said. The weapon that could have ended the war? Toma stared at it. A weapon. What kind? Vilara's eyes grew dark. Not a weapon of destruction, but of control. It could change the minds of others, make enemies into friends or slaves. It was our last hope and our greatest mistake. Toma felt a chill. You never used it? Vilara shook her head. No, it was too dangerous. My people destroyed much, but this could destroy everything. She turned to him, her gaze steady. And now, it waits for someone to awaken it. Thomas. Mine raced. Why show me this? Vilara looked away for a moment, then back. Because you are connected to it. You carry the blood of those who fought against us. Your rival here is no accident. Toma shook his head, trying to understand. I'm just a scout. I never asked for this. Vilara stepped closer. None of us do. But fate chooses paths. Even when we do not see them, suddenly, a soft sound echoed from the passageway, a low hum growing louder. The machines began to glow brighter. The power is waking, Vilara said, her voice urgent. Something has disturbed the balance. Toma looked toward the entrance. Feeling the weight of the moment, can it be stopped? He asked. Vilara's eyes flashed with determination. Yes, but it will not be easy. She reached out and took his hand gently. Will you help me? Toma hesitated, then nodded. I don't have a choice, do I? Vilara smiled faintly. Sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that define us. Together, they began to examine the machines, searching for a way to calm the power within the glass heart. As they worked, Toma realized Vilara's strength was not just in her knowledge, but in her hope. A hope that the past could be changed. Outside, the jungle was quiet, but Toma felt the weight of what was to come. The echoes of war were not just memories, they were warnings, and he was now part of their story. The glow from the machines pulsed gently as Toma and Vilara worked together in the hidden chamber. Beneath the temple, the soft hum echoed around the stone walls, filling the air with a strange energy that neither fully understood. Toma's fingers brushed over the controls of an ancient device. How does this work? He asked, looking at Vilara. She studied the panel, her silver eyes focused. This device controls the energy of the weapon inside the glass heart. If we can stabilize it, the power will sleep again. Toma nodded. But if it wakes, Vilara's voice dropped, it could control minds, change thoughts, force peace, or force war. Toma swallowed. That's a dangerous power. Vilara's gaze softened. Yes, and that is why I guard it. For a moment, silence filled the room. Outside, the jungle was still, but tension hung in the air. Suddenly, Toma's damaged comm unit crackled weakly. He grabbed it, surprised. My people, they're searching for me. Vilara stepped closer, concern in her eyes. Then time is short. If they find you here, they will want this power. Toma's mind raced. Why would they want it? Vilara's voice was quiet but firm. Because power shapes the future, and some fear what they cannot control. Toma looked at her, confused. Are you saying humans want to use this weapon? Vilara nodded. Not all, but some, they do. Not understand its cost. Toma's heart pounded. We came to Ilyar hoping to find peace. But maybe the war is not over. Vilara placed a hand on his arm. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the strength to protect what matters. Toma looked away, thinking about his family and the worlds they had lost. Suddenly, a distant explosion shook the ground. Dust fell from the chamber ceiling. Vilara's eyes narrowed. They are here. Toma felt fear rise, but also a strange courage. What can we do? Vilara pulled a small device from her belt. We prepare. She led him back up the passage. The temple was quiet again, but the air felt heavier. Outside, the jungle seemed to hold its breath. Vilara moved with purpose, setting traps and hiding weapons she had kept for years. Toma helped as best he could, though his legs still hurt. As night fell, the sound of ships grew louder. Bright lights pierced the dark sky. Toma saw human ships hovering above the jungle canopy. They found us, he said, voice tight. Vilara's face was calm but serious. They want what you carry. In this place, Toma felt the weight of his bloodline, knowing that his connection to the past made him a target. Suddenly, a beam of light scanned the temple's entrance. Toma ducked behind a stone pillar. Velara whispered, "They will come. We must be ready." The first soldiers appeared, moving carefully through the jungle. They were armed and alert, searching for signs of the missing scout. Toma recognized their voices. "Commander Aaron," one said. "The scout is close." Toma's heart raced. He wanted to shout that he was here, but Velara's hand stopped him. "Wait," she said. "Let them come." The soldiers moved closer. Toma's breath caught as they entered the temple. Velara stepped out into the open, her silver eyes glowing. "Stop," she commanded in a voice both calm and powerful. The soldiers hesitated. Velara raised her hand, and a wave of energy rippled through the air. The soldiers froze, their weapons lowering. Toma stared in disbelief. "How did you do that?" Velara smiled faintly. "The power of my people still lives in me." Commander Aaron stepped forward, eyes wide. "Velara, we didn't expect to find you alive." Velara's expression hardened. "You came for the power, but it will not be yours." Aaron looked at Toma. "You should come with us. This war is over." Toma shook his head. "No, I won't. Let history repeat itself." Velara moved beside him. "The past is not dead. It waits in shadows." Suddenly, the glass heart beneath the temple pulsed with a bright light. The ground shook violently. "Too late," Velara said. "The weapon is waking." Toma grabbed her arm. "What do? "We stop it," she said fiercely. Together, as the temple began to collapse, Toma and Velara prepared for a fight that could decide the fate of many worlds. The Second War was not just about armies or ships, it was about the strength of the human spirit and the hope that even in darkness, light can rise. The temple shook violently, stones falling around Toma and Velara as the glass heart pulsed with fierce light. Dust filled the air, and the low hum of the machines grew louder, almost deafening. The energy inside the chamber was awakening, a force neither of them could fully control. Toma steadied himself against a fallen pillar, watching Velara as she moved toward the glowing heart. Her silver eyes reflected determination and fear. "We must stop it," she said, voice steady but urgent. "How?" Toma asked, heart pounding. "It's the strong." Velara looked at him. "The heart responds to emotion, hope and fear, love and anger. We must calm it with hope." Toma thought of his family back home, the peaceful life he dreamed of building. "I want peace," he whispered. Velara nodded. "Then hold on to that." Together, they reached the glass container. The heart pulsed wildly, sending waves of energy through the room. Velara placed her hands gently on the glass. "I will connect with it," she said. "You must stay close." Toma took a deep breath and moved beside her, feeling a strange warmth from the heart. Suddenly, images flashed in his mind, visions of stars, battles, and faces of people he did not know. But there was something familiar in those images, something powerful. Velara's voice echoed in his thoughts. "Focus. Feel the hope, not the fear." Toma closed his eyes, imagining a future where humans and Velara's people lived together in peace. The vision softened, the light in the heart began to slow down, but then a dark shadow crossed the chamber. A group of soldiers, led by Commander Aaron, burst in. "Step away from the weapon," Aaron shouted. Velara's eyes flared. "You do not understand its power." Aaron raised his weapon, but Velara raised a hand, stopping him with a wave of energy. "We do not want to fight," she said, "but we will protect this place." Toma stepped forward. "There is a choice. We can use this power to heal or to destroy." The soldiers hesitated. Aaron looked at Toma, then at Velara. "How can we trust you?" Velara's voice was firm. "Because we want the same thing, an end to war." Suddenly, the heart pulsed faster again. The chamber shook violently. Velara gasped and turned to Toma. "The weapon senses conflict. It will destroy us all if we do not stop it." Toma's mind raced. "We have to calm it, together." He reached out and took Velara's hand. The heart's light surrounded them both, warm and bright. In that moment, Toma understood. The power was not just a weapon. It was a connection, a link between all beings, a chance to change the future. The light grew brighter, filling the chamber with warmth. The soldiers lowered their weapons, watching in awe. Velara whispered, "Peace is not given. It is made. Slowly, the shaking stopped. The glass heart glowed softly, calm once more. Commander Aaron stepped forward, his voice quiet. Perhaps. There's hope. Velara smiled faintly. There's always hope. Toma looked at the heart, then at Velara and the soldiers. This is just the beginning. Outside, the jungle was still and quiet, as if waiting. Together, they had stopped the awakening, but the real journey was about to begin. The temple was quiet now, the soft glow from the glass heart lighting the chamber in a gentle blue. Outside, the jungle stretched endlessly, alive but calm. Toma sat on a stone bench, his legs still healing, and watched as Velara moved with purpose, tending to the ancient devices scattered around the room. Commander Aaron and his soldiers stood nearby, cautious but no longer hostile. The warship hovering above had withdrawn for now, waiting for orders. But the tension in the air remained thick. Velara looked at Toma and then at Aaron. We have stopped the weapons awakening, but the danger is not over. Your people will not give up easily. Aaron nodded slowly. And why should we trust you? You are an alien, a stranger to us. Toma stood up, his gaze steady. Because Velara saved my life. Because she risked everything to protect this place, and maybe to protect all of us. Aaron's eyes softened for a moment. Maybe. But the war has changed many. Some will fight for power, not peace. Velara's silver eyes met his. Then, we must be stronger. Together, the room grew silent. Finally, Aaron spoke again. Tell me the truth. Velara, why did you help the scout? Velara hesitated, then took a deep breath. Because I believed he could change the future. But also, because I have a secret. Toma's heart quickened. What secret? Velara looked down, her voice soft. I am not just a widow. I am the last guardian of the glass heart. My people chose me to protect its power, to ensure it never falls into the wrong hands. She paused. But the truth is, I am not alone. Toma and Aaron exchanged confused looks. Velara continued. There is another, someone who wants the power for himself, someone from my past. Toma's eyes narrowed. Who? Before Velara could answer, the chamber door slammed open. A tall figure stepped inside, cloaked in dark armor that shimmered under the blue light. His face was hidden, but his presence filled the room with cold menace. I see you have found me, the stranger said, voice low and commanding. Velara's eyes flashed with recognition. Ravos. The stranger smiled cruelly. The last war was only the beginning. Now, I will finish what we started. Toma stepped forward, despite his injured leg. Who are you? Ravos removed his hood, revealing sharp features and piercing eyes. I was once a leader among my people, but I chose a different path, one of power, control, and conquest. Aaron raised his weapon. You will not harm anyone here. Ravos laughed. You are brave, human, but bravery without strength is nothing. Velara moved in front of Toma. Ravos seeks the glass heart to bend all beings to his will. He will stop at nothing. Toma felt a surge of anger. We won't let that happen. Ravos' eyes gleamed, then prepare for war. Suddenly, the machines around the chamber whirred to life. Energy crackled, and the glass heart glowed fiercely. Velara reached out, trying to calm it, but Ravos raised his hand, sending a pulse of dark energy that shook the room. The battle had begun. The chamber exploded with energy. The machines around the glass heart sparked wildly as Ravos commanded the dark power, twisting the ancient energy toward destruction. Velara stood firm, her silver eyes glowing as she reached out to protect the heart. Beside her, Toma gritted his teeth, his injured leg forgotten in the rush of urgency. Hold steady, Velara shouted. If Ravos controls the heart, he will destroy everything we have fought for. Toma moved closer, feeling the warmth of Velara's strength. We have to stop him, together. Commander Aaron and his soldiers flanked the two, weapons ready but unsure how to fight a power so great. Ravos laughed, his voice echoing through the chamber. You think you can stop me? I will rule all, every mind, every soul. Velara's hands shone with light as she pressed her palms against the glass heart. Not while I live. The energy between Velara and Ravos clashed. Bright light against dark, hope against fear. The chamber shook violently, stones falling, sparks flying. Toma closed his eyes and focused on the hope they had fought for, a future where enemies could become friends, where war could end. Suddenly, the heart pulsed with a powerful wave. The dark energy from Ravos was pushed back, faltering. Ravos screamed in anger and lunged forward. But Velara raised a shield of light that stopped him. Toma took a deep breath and stepped into the circle of light. Ravos, this power is not yours to take. It belongs to everyone. To heal, not hurt, Ravos sneered. Your words are weak. Toma held his ground, maybe. But the power inside this heart responds to more than anger and hate. It listens. To truth. Velara smiled faintly. And the truth is that no one can control all minds. True peace comes from trust. Ravos' dark power flickered, then faded. His eyes showed fear for the first time. Toma reached out. It's not too late. You can choose a different path. For a long moment, silence filled the chamber. Ravos looked at Velara, then at Toma. Slowly, his expression softened. I was wrong, he whispered. Power used to control only destroys. The chamber light grew calm and bright as the glass heart settled into peaceful glow. Velara stepped forward, extending her hand. Join us. Help build a future where all beings can live free. Ravos took her hand, and a new hope filled the room. Commander Aaron lowered his weapon and nodded. Maybe this war can finally end. Toma looked around the chamber, at the people who had come from different worlds, brought together by fate. We have a long road ahead, he said, but together we can walk it. Outside, the jungle breathed softly beneath the stars. The alien widow had offered shelter, and her real motive, to protect hope, had shaken his soul.